A coach I was mentoring once told me, half proud and half frustrated, that she'd walked into a leadership team session totally present, no preconceptions, completely open. And she meant it as a virtue. She cleared her head deliberately so she could meet the room fresh. The session went fine. It also went nowhere, and she couldn't tell me why. Here's what I told her, and it's the thing I want to put in front of you now. The team coaches whose sessions actually move something, do a quiet piece of work that the team never sees and almost never hears about. It happens before the room, 20 minutes, usually with a pen, sometimes scribbled on the back of an agenda in the parking lot. They read the system first. That woman walked in empty on purpose. The coaches I'm describing walk in already seeing. They've spent 20 minutes asking who's really on this team, what structure keeps producing the knot they were hired to untie. Who's in the field, including who isn't in the chair, what roles people carry for the whole group, and what the whole company stands to inherit from this room's blind spots. None of that becomes a lecture. None of it gets delivered as a model. It changes one thing the team can feel: the precision of the first question the coach asks. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through that standing read, line by line, so you can run it yourself before the next leadership team you sit with. It's the move that completes everything we've built in this module. Let me be concrete about where this read lives, because the timing is the whole point. It lives upstream, before you've shaken a single hand, before you've taken a centering breath at the top of the session. You do this one back at your desk. Picture the difference. Coach A blocks 20 minutes the morning of the session. She pulls up what she knows about the team, the org chart, the reason she was hired, a few things the sponsor said in the intake call. And she writes. By the time she walks in, she already has a hypothesis about what this room does. Coach B walks in cold and lets the session teach her. Both are skilled. Watch their first questions. Coach A's first question lands somewhere specific because she came in aimed. Coach B's first question is good, clean, open, and generic because she's still orienting while the clock runs. That 20 minutes on paper is the difference between arriving oriented and arriving curious. Curious is fine for a discovery call. For a leadership team that's paying real money and carrying real stakes, you want oriented and curious both. And notice what the writing does that thinking doesn't. When you hold the read in your head, it stays vague, a general sense of the room. When you put it on paper, you're forced to be specific. You have to name who's actually on the team. You have to commit to a guess about the pattern. The pen makes you precise, and precision before the room is what buys you a sharper question inside it. So, actual pen on actual paper. 20 minutes before you cross the threshold. Here's the read itself, the standing pre-session pass, the same 5 lines every time, so it becomes a reflex rather than a fresh invention each session. Let me take you through them. First, is this even a team and who's actually on it? You learned this diagnostic in the last unit. Bounded, stable, interdependent, real shared work. Or a set of one-on-ones with the CEO held in a single room. You answer this first because it decides everything downstream. Second, what structure keeps producing the pattern they hired you to fix? Look at the shape underneath the personalities, the reporting lines, the incentive structure, the decision rights that quietly manufacture the same knot over and over. Third, who's in the field? including who isn't in the room, the board that shapes the CEO from offstage, the customer no one speaks for, the departed founder whose preferences still govern. Absent forces have presence. Fourth, what roles do people carry for the whole, and which seats hold a ghost? One person carries all the caution for the group. Another carries the optimism nobody else is allowed to feel, and sometimes a critical role. The dissenter, the customer's voice, sits in an empty chair, occupied by no one, which is its own kind of signal. Fifth, the upper echelon stakes. What does the whole company inherit from this room's blind spots? At the apex, there's no layer above to absorb what this team can't see. So its blind spot becomes a market the company can't see and a risk it can't price. 5 lines, 20 minutes. That's the standing read. Now there's a sixth thing, and I want to hold it differently from the other 5. The 5 lines you write down. This one you hold off to the side, lightly, almost in the corner of your eye. The question is this: what is this room built to hear? And what is it built to miss? Every leadership team has acoustics. Some signals carry in that room. They get airtime, they get believed, they move people. Other signals get swallowed. You say them and they vanish, like the room is carpeted against that one frequency. A team built around finance hears numbers instantly and goes deaf when someone raises a human cost. A team built around product hears the roadmap and tunes out the operation strain underneath it. The room amplifies one kind of truth and suppresses another, and it does this without anyone choosing it. So before you walk in, take a first light pass at it. Who's the dominant voice? Not the loudest person, but the kind of input this system treats as real. And what's the suppressed one? The truth that's technically allowed but never actually lands. I said hold it lightly, and I mean that as a discipline, not a softness. You're making a first guess, a hunch to test, not a verdict to defend. If you grip it too hard, you'll walk in looking for evidence that confirms your guess, and you'll stop seeing the room. So pencil it in the margin, carry it as a question you're still asking, and let the room talk you out of it if it wants to. Let me be straight with you about the edge of what this module can give you, because being clear about that edge is what keeps you from overreaching. By now you can notice a dominant voice and a quiet one. You can sit in a leadership team and feel that finance is running the acoustics while the people cost signal keeps dying on the floor. That noticing is real, and it's hard won, and most coaches in that room never get there at all. Hold on to it as a genuine capability. Noticing is the doorway, and there's a room on the other side this module saves for later. The precise read, which formation actually sits at the center of this team, and why this particular group collides the way it does. The same fight in new costumes month after month. That's a different order of seeing. That's the whole of what comes next. We call it move to. So here's the discipline I'm asking of you, and you'll feel the pull against it. When you notice the dominant voice, there's a temptation to leap straight to the diagnosis. This is a finance formation team colliding with operations. Classic. It feels sharp. It feels like expertise. And right now, at this stage, it's a guess wearing the costume of a diagnosis. Stay at noticing. Let the precise read wait for the tools that earn it. This module ends by pointing at the door it just opened, naming clearly what it gave you and what it deliberately held back. Resisting the early leap is exactly the maturity that makes the later read trustworthy. Here's the part people miss, and it's the part that separates a coach who sees clearly from a coach who's read a lot of books. Everything we've just built, the 5-line read, the question held in the margin, all of it stays below the waterline. None of it surfaces in the room as a model. Let me make that vivid. You do not walk in and say, I've identified that your team functions as a hub and spoke around the CEO, with the COO carrying displaced caution and the customer as a ghost role. That sentence is technically accurate and completely useless. The moment you say it, you stop being the coach who sees the system and become the consultant explaining systems theory at the team. They'll nod. Nothing will move. You've handed them homework instead of an experience. So where does the read go if not into your mouth? It goes into your attention. It changes what you notice while they talk. It changes which thread you pull when 3 things are happening at once. And above all, it shows up in the precision of your first real question, the one that lands somewhere specific because you came in oriented. The team's experience of you is simple and powerful. This person sees us clearly. They don't know you spent 20 minutes on paper. They don't know the framework underneath the question. They just feel seen with a sharpness they're not used to. And that sharpness is the whole deliverable. The map stays in your pocket. Only the quality of your attention walks into the room. There's a worry I hear when I teach this, and it's fair, so let me address it head on. Coaches say, you're asking me to hold 5 lenses at once: structure, field, roles, ghost roles, real team status, the acoustics. Isn't that a recipe for sitting in the room lost in my own head, juggling frameworks while the actual human in front of me is talking? That worry only holds if the lenses stay theory you're performing. Once they're lived in, the picture changes. By the time you've run this read a dozen times, holding several lenses at once stops being a juggling act and becomes the way you see. The same way an experienced clinician hears a heartbeat and a breathing pattern and a tone of voice all at once, without consciously cycling through a checklist. It's working perception. It's the trained eye doing what a trained eye does. The map and the room divide the labor cleanly. The map tells you where to look. It's what you did on paper before the session, and it's why your gaze goes to the quiet cut row instead of the loud CEO. The room is where you actually look, with full presence, fully with the people. The framework did its job before you walked in. Inside, your only task is paying unusually precise attention because the framework already aimed you. That's why a team experiences this kind of coach as deeply present. The multi-resolution seeing happened upstream, which leaves you free and undistracted in the room. What they get is someone fully present, asking the one question that goes straight to the thing they couldn't name. Let me show you the whole read in motion on one composite team so you can hear how fast it goes and how much it yields. One coach, 20 minutes, 6 lines. Is it a real team? Mostly. There's genuine shared work that needs them together, but 2 of the 7 mostly just report up. So it's a real team with a soft edge, and that soft edge matters. The pattern? A decision that keeps not getting made. A fix that gets agreed to, then quietly fails, then comes back next quarter wearing different clothes. The field? The board is shaping the CEO from off stage. You can feel it in how she hedges. And the customer is a ghost, a seat at the table no one is speaking for. The roles, the COO is carrying all the caution for the whole group, so everyone else gets to be optimistic because he's holding their fear. And the Kuro has gone quiet, a voice that used to be in the mix and has withdrawn, which is a signal in itself. What's the room built to hear? Numbers. This room metabolizes a spreadsheet instantly and goes vague the moment a human consequence comes up. So watch what that red produces. The coach's first question isn't, how's everyone feeling about the strategy? It's, who speaks for the people on the other end of this decision? One question. It names the ghost. It surfaces the suppressed signal, and it does it without a single word of theory. 20 minutes on paper bought that sentence. That's the entire payoff of the read. Here's your work before we move into the next module, and I want you to actually do it on paper, because this is the rep where the whole module becomes a skill in your hands instead of an idea in your head. Pick a real leadership team, one you coach now, one you've observed closely, or the team from your Module 0 sentence. Any group you know well enough to have a feel for its habits. Then run the standing pre-session read, as if you were about to walk into a session with them. Write 6 lines. Line 1, real team or team in name only, and give yourself the evidence. Is there work that genuinely needs these people collectively, or is each one running a function and using the meeting to report up? Line 2, the structural pattern they keep producing, the knot, the shape of the team manufactures. Line 3, who's in the field, including who's absent, the board, the customer, the ghost no one speaks for. Line 4, the roles people carry for the whole, and one ghost role, one seat that's empty but occupied. Line 5, the upper echelon stakes, what the whole company inherits from this room's blind spot. And line 6, held genuinely light, one guess at what this room is built to hear. Keep that last line a pencil mark, not a conclusion. It's the door into move 2, an answer you're still working toward. And gripping it too early produces a guess dressed up as a diagnosis. Write your 6 lines. Sit with how much you can already see. Next, we stop describing the system and start reading why it collides.